been extremely lucky on this project. The weather's been great, deliveries have been on time. And look, now we have the city connection taking place. What's happening here is the city sewer, sanitary, and the water lines are being brought to the job site, the property line. And this doesn't usually take place this fast. In fact, we haven't even begun much of our rough-ins yet, and we're already getting the water connection. So it's a good sign. It helps us move things forward faster. And again, it's all good luck. So earlier on, we talked about the sequencing in the trades and who comes in first and what does he do. Look at the ceiling above. The lighting layout has been completed. And that's the most important part because the lighting layout does not change. And everybody else should be working around him. The second guy that came in was the HVAC guy. And see how he has to route his pipes away from the lighting so that he can get his runs done without affecting how the lights are laid out. So right now, if you look at it, the lights, the sprinkler heads, and the future location of the smoke detector are all lined up nicely. So have a look at the next bedroom. The lights are done, the sprinklers are done, the HVAC's done. You can see how everything lines up very, very nicely. Again, the smoke detector, the light, the sprinkler head, and then the light. And again here, in the bathroom, light, centered sprinkler head, light, all in a nice straight line. Out in the back, the laneway is progressing very, very nicely. Now, one of the questions we had very earlier on in the project was, why don't we build the laneway house and the house at the same time? If you have a look at the laneway house and just look at the sheer size of that building with respect to the property size and the width, okay? Can you imagine having to deliver materials from the lane onto the top of the house with the use of a crane when that structure is just blocking you? The laneway house sits so high, it blocks any access for cranes coming in. And so that's why we build the laneway house after the house has been built. So as with the sequencing of the house, the laneway house will soon see the roofers, the spray foam guys, the windows, and then finally start doing the rough-ins on the inside, exactly the way the main house was built. Now, just before I bring in the electrician, the plumber, and the low voltage guys to do the rough-ins, what I would do is I would lay out all the shop drawings of the millwork and the cabinet drawings throughout the entire house. This tells the trades what is planned for the area. This is right here is a master ensuite. It's very simple. It's going to be just a one double sink cabinet, but it tells a story. It tells a distance from the walls. It tells where the toilet is with reference to the cabinets, and it tells the trades where to put their rough-ins properly without perhaps going too much to the left or the right. This way they can accurately do their work once without having to do any changes later. Now, this is important for washrooms, but more importantly, in the kitchen. Let's go have a look. You might notice something different on the main floor. If you look up, you'll see an entire drop ceiling that carries throughout the entire main floor. The plumber did very well because he was able to run his pipes vertically down the walls without having to drop the low beams. But when it came to the HVAC guy, there was simply too many beams to deal with. He had to run from one end of the room to the other end of the room. However, in between lies several rows of beams. Those beams cannot be drilled to accommodate this size of ducting. So the only other option is to install the ductwork below the beams and make a drop ceiling to conceal those ductwork as they are installed. So although it was inevitable in this case, it's still not the end of the world. We have a good amount of ceiling height to work with. Right now, you'll see the drop ceiling and you'll notice it. But once the drywall is on, it's hardly noticeable. So let's check back when the electrician, the plumber, and the low voltage guys start the rough-ins. The next round of work will take place on the outside, where we start doing our window trims, our mock-ups, and start covering the outside sheathing with our membranes.